Good morning and welcome back to Locs Talk with your girl Pammy. Today we're going to talk about a topic that's not very common. So let's talk about it on Locs Talk. Folliculitis. Okay, come on in. So before we begin, what's the drill? Subscribe, share, like, please, and thank you. Also, website is down there too. Check it out. See something you like, ask questions, learn a little. Yeah. All right. Let's get started with this conversation. So, hi. What's the topic? Folliculitis. It's an infection of the hair follicles. Now, folliculitis is caused by a bacteria. I'm going to say staph because Staphylococcus aureus is a lot to try to say that 10 times fast, right? So folliculitis is a staph infection of your hair follicle and is caused by staph or staph. What is this? Staphylococcus aureus bacteria, right? And it's inflammation and infection in the hair follicle. This can happen because of a number of things. So let's get into that. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the causes of folliculitis. And I'm just going to give you the three most common causes of folliculitis. Number one, going prolonged periods of time between washing your hair. Like really long periods of time. You don't want to do that. All of that stuff can get clogged up in your scalp and the follicles, and really, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Wash your hair. Wash your hair. The second one is very common, especially if you are visiting salon barber, and there's a multitude of people, so revolving door of people that's coming in and out of the establishment. Cross-contamination from hair tools that are used on clients that have not been properly sanitized and or cleaned. This happens also even like if you go to the nail salon and you see people get foot fungus passed on and all kinds of stuff because they're not properly sanitizing and cleaning their tools. They think if they just dipped it in there for like 2 seconds, it's sanitized. No. If it's not properly cleaned or sanitized, folliculitis absolutely 100% can be passed from one person to the next person. So be careful with that. Third, remember how many times I keep telling you, don't scratch your scalp. Your scalp is sensitive like a peach. It easily bruises. It can, break. And little microorganisms live under our fingernails. No matter how much you clean your nails and wash your hands, can't wash it all away. I gave you an example before. A surgeon spends 5 minutes thoroughly scrubbing their hands and under their fingernails, and yet they wear not one but 2 pair of surgical gloves when they're performing surgery. So if they do all of that, scrub for 5 minutes and wear 2 pair of surgical gloves on top of that, it's because they know any infection can be passed on to the patient that they are operating on. The same thing can happen with your fingernails. You're using your fingernails to scratch your scalp. Stop scratching your scalp. You don't know what's under your nails or in the environment that you are scratching your scalp. Now you're exposing it, you open it. So those are the three most common reasons how folliculitis gets passed on. There are other reasons, and feel free to look them up, but I want to talk about the most common. And amongst those three, the top one is not washing your hair. Wash your darn hair. When you go to a salon, whether it's a salon or a home-based business, look around. You will see if they have equipment that they use to sanitize their stuff. Okay? And if it looks like it's like been sitting in that jar forever and it's a super dark blue, that's just been sitting there and it has not been being used, because that should not be that dark. If it's that dark, it should have been cleaned out and replaced with a new batch of Bombicide. Okay? So make sure. And again, even if you keep your hands clean and keep under your nails clean like I do, don't scratch. Okay? So, medically, folliculitis is diagnosed by a doctor, either your PCP, primary care physician, or a board certified dermatologist. Okay? Difference between a dermatologist and a board certified. Board certified, definitely you want to go with a board certified dermatologist. There's people out here that learn about skin and call themselves a dermatologist, and they're not. Board certified is medical school. Okay? So anyway, you get diagnosed. That's the first thing. First, get a diagnosis from a board certified dermatologist. Number one, right? Number two, under their direction and care, take any medication they prescribe to you, because primarily the only cure to a case of folliculitis is a round of antibiotics, because it's a bacterial staph infection. So that's the only way it's going to go away. Okay? And then under his care also, you're going to take prescribed shampoo. They're going to probably prescribe you with a medicated shampoo. Okay? Not always. It depends on how severe the case is. I've seen cases that were not so severe, where it was not necessary to take a high dosage of medicated shampoo, so they were able to get over-the-counter medicated shampoo, but still some sort of medicated shampoo. As well, prescribed cortisone cream or antifungal cream. So steps: see a doctor, get properly diagnosed by a board certified dermatologist or your primary care physician. Number two, under their care, take your round of antibiotics, and take all of them. Not when you start seeing it feel better and all of that and it's not itching. Take the full round of the antibiotics, because it can come back if you don't take the full round. Number three, also under the care, make sure when you wash your hair, you are using medicated shampoo to help treat the condition on the surface where you can see it. Because remember, staph infection goes deep, 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 deep. All right? And finally, to help with itching and inflammation, cortisone cream and antifungal cream also helps with the cluster of, bumps and stuff that forms as the scalp is inflamed and things like that. So that is how you medically treat folliculitis. Okay? There's another way you treat it that helps speed up the process when you are diagnosed with it. But number one, whether it is by doctor's care or holistically, one thing when it comes to folliculitis, you have to take antibiotics to make it go away. There's no home remedy that's going to make it go away. Okay? All right. So here we do have, and it says home remedies to help treat mild folliculitis. And the reason why I say home remedies to help treat mild folliculitis, in addition to the antibiotics, which you do have to take, instead of you having to use a prescribed shampoo and prescribed cortisone cream and prescribed antifungal gel, you don't need to do those things, because if it's a mild case, then there's a less progressive way. Progressive. Is that the word? Aggressive. Less aggressive way to treat it. So number one, use organic ACV to treat the scalp. So apple cider vinegar, good friend. Again, you dilute it, not directly from the bottle. Every cup, 2 tablespoons of ACV. Okay? 2 tablespoons ACV per cup of water, H2O. Tea tree oil. Absolutely 100%. So every ounce of carrier oil, you add 4 to 6 drops of tea tree oil in that bad boy. We're going to talk more in detail in it, but I'm just opening the window to that. And then again, witch hazel. Remember, not just any witch hazel, alcohol-free witch hazel. It's a little bit tough to find, but you can find it. Most of the time, you'll find it in the beauty section where people do like the toner and stuff. You'll see it there more. I don't know why, because like in the medicine aisle, the one with the alcohol in it is usually there. But you usually see like in the beauty aisle, the witch hazel with no alcohol. At least that's been my experience. Okay, here, if you look either this way or that way, where the words came up, to do a proper tea tree treatment to treat your scalp from any kind of infection, not just folliculitis, but other fungal infections that can grow in your scalp as well. This is the tea tree oil treatment. First and foremost, I'm going to go over here real quick and look at it. Okay, so as I said, to dilute the tea tree oil, because you don't want to use it directly on your skin because it can be very irritating, you want to take 1 ounce of a carrier oil. In this case, I like to use fractionated coconut oil, right? And 4 to 6 drops of tea tree oil. And you're going to make that, you can dilute it, put it in a dropper bottle, shake it up real good to make sure it's well, in there. And then you're going to apply it to your scalp where the infection is. Not everywhere, just where the infection is. Be very careful when you're using the nozzle not to touch your scalp because, again, cross-contamination. So, you separate your hair and from a distance, it don't have to be way up there, but, don't touch the area that's infected with the tip of the nozzle. You just make sure the drops, let gravity be your friend. Let the drops go in there using a clean, sterile cotton ball. You're going to just rub it on the area, right? Or even better, take the nozzle and put a full 1 or 2 nozzles on a cotton ball and you massage it on the area where the infection is. You're going to let it sit there for 20 minutes. Do nothing. Just let the tea tree oil do its job. Let it sit on the area for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, you are going to use a shampoo and conditioner, both with tea tree oil in it. Now, the 5% of what volume is in that bottle, don't go above 5%. Make sure when you buy shampoo that says tea tree shampoo or tea tree conditioner, read the ingredients. Make sure it says it's only 5% in there. If it's too much, it will irritate your scalp. Okay? That is how you do a tea tree treatment. So you're going to wash your hair with the shampoo, at least 3 wash cycles. And then you are going to condition your hair with the tea tree conditioner. You're going to let it sit on your scalp and hair for at least 10 minutes. It's like a deep conditioner because the tea tree has to do its job. Once that happens, then you're going to rinse it out and you're good to go. Now make sure when you are washing your hair and treating it for staph infection, because staph infections are contagious. I will say it again, staph infections are contagious. Wear gloves when you're scrubbing your hair because you can cross-contaminate and touch somebody else and they can get it if you're treating it, right? Also, the towel that you use to dry your hair, use something that you like. They do have like disposable, or get a cheap towel. Go to the dollar store and get a cheap towel because you don't want to reuse a towel that you used on your head if you are dealing with a staph infection. So you have to be very careful with stuff like that. Okay? All right. Okay, so this, before moving on to the next small topic, well, no, big topic, because it's kind of like the prefix for the next video that we're going to be talking about. Sweat. Now, I didn't add this to that list of 3 most common ways that folliculitis is passed because that's the 3 most common ways that folliculitis is passed on. However, this is another way that bacteria, because there's more than one form of bacteria. We were just talking about staph for folliculitis. But another way bacteria can make its way down into your scalp, hair follicles, hair, is sweat. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about sweat, baby. And so how does this happen? When our scalp sweats, again, our scalp is skin, it just has a lot of hair growing out of it. We sweat. Some sweats more than others. Have you ever come across a person with or without locks and they was at the gym or they just really sweaty and they have this mildewy, funky, wet mop that hasn't been cleaned smell coming from their hair or their head? Yeah. Well, what happens is this. Number one, if you know biology like I do, sweat, perspiration doesn't actually smell. I don't know if you've ever been around a person who has sweat, but they sweated from a clean body. They were, clean before they started sweating, and they don't smell terrible. Perspiration actually has a pheromone in it that attracts the opposite sex to them. However, when bacteria is mixed in with that sweat, now it becomes a repellent. Because you're like, you stink. And whether it's the opposite sex or not, you don't want to be around a person where they smell okay. So it's about the body chemistry, whether perspiration smells or not. And one of the body chemistries that we don't want is this. It's it's the mathematical equivalent equation. Sweat plus heat equals a breeding ground for bacteria. Bacteria mixed in with sweat. As the sweat dries, it makes its way and burrows down into your hair follicles, which is what causes that funky, mop, mildewy, disgusting smell that you often may smell coming from somebody, and it's usually coming from their head. Because we release a lot of heat from our head, especially when we perspire. We perspire to cool our bodies down. That's the purpose of perspiration, is to help your body regulate its body temperature and cool itself down. Okay, so how do we avoid that from happening? I'm glad you asked. So here's what I do. There's two things that you can do. Either while your hair is still moist and wet from sweating, you take a clean terry cloth, washcloth, put some hot, warm water on it, right? And witch hazel, alcohol-free witch hazel, but witch hazel. And, just separate your hair and do that while it's still damp. You don't wait for it to dry because it's too late once that happens. You want to do it while it's still wet. The reason why I said that, number one, as I said before, witch hazel has a microbial agent. It's a microbial. It kills. It kills. See, because the bacteria is not active yet right now. So you want to kill it before it becomes active and do the stuff. And then you say, monkey, I don't want the funk. We don't want the funk. Right? And so that's one. And actually it's three. The second one is diluted ACV. Now you could take an 8-ounce bottle of distilled water and put 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in it. Right? Now, people be like, yeah, but I don't want to smell funky like alcohol. I mean, like ACV. So that's not the most common. However, it is effective. Okay? But if you don't want to smell funky like vinegar, then scratch that. You can always put like a few drops of essential oil in there, give it a nice aroma. But here's my favorite way to do it. Made for Locs aloe vera refresher spray. Right? Not only do I use this, and the reason for this, I don't use this particular scent. This is the one that I have on the table. I still need to get the original formula. It's the fresh scent. It smells like you just took a shower. You spritz this on all over your scalp after you work out, okay? And on your hair, and trust me, you're going to have some fresh smelling hair, okay? Yes. With that being said, that ended my little conversation about folliculitis. So go back and look at all those steps and make sure you are proactive and making sure you don't catch it. We don't want that. Okay, folliculitis is painful as hell too. I don't know if you ever had like a pimple on your scalp before and it hurt like all hell, or if you ever had an ingrown hair on your scalp and it hurt like all hell. Folliculitis is that times maybe 10. It's painful. Well, from what I heard, because I've never had it, but it's painful. Okay. Now, what we're going to talk about now, first and foremost, I just gave you some tips on how to treat your scalp when you are sweating to keep bacteria from becoming active and getting down and burrowing down into your hair follicles and causing that funky odor that nobody likes. Like, once it's there, it's hard to get rid of it because it's in the pores. It's in there. So that's why even after washing the hair, it's just, why do I still smell it? Because you got to kill that bacteria. And it's harder to kill once it's down in your hair follicles. So like I said, while you're still damp from the sweat, that's when you want to tame the beast. Spritz, clean, and that's, again, you don't have to wash your hair every time you go to the gym. Now, that's the reason why a lot of people do wash their hair when they go to the gym, because of that. But if that's too much, and you have to be mindful also that when you go to the gym, not to overcover your head to the point where your scalp can't breathe and you're creating too much heat and stuff. But that's enough about that. We're going to get into the next prequel to our next video, talking about products and the ingredients in the products. Okay? So, the importance of reading labels, read your labels, is this. While there are a number of reasons as to why most prioritize things, reading your labels is important. Now, many people have asked me this question: why made for Locs? Why made for Locs? Because of this. Because the ingredients, right? It says no artificial, no animal testing, cruelty free. And then you look over here, it says parabens free, no sulfate, alcohol free, vegan friendly, silicone free. These are things that are on the label, but even when you read it in the ingredients, don't just look for this. Look at the ingredients, okay? When you're reading the labels, the first 5 ingredients are the most concentrated within that product. The first 5 is the most concentrated ingredient in that product. But you still want to read all of them, because if you're using that product all the time over a long period of time, even the smallest amount with each use builds up to cause the harm. So what I'm about to tell you is, I'm going to start you off with the 9 ingredients you need to be focused on staying away from when you see it on any label of ingredients in a product. Okay? And we're going to talk further about that and more in depth about that in our next Locs Talk discussion. From what it does, what happens to your hair, how it affects your hair, different names, aliases that because they try to hide behind different. Oh no, that's not what that is. It's this. Yeah, that's one of the other names that's known by. We're gonna talk about all that in the next Locs Talk video. But right now, we are going to focus on what those 9 ingredients are, just to get you started. Okay, let's do it. Number 1, sulfate. Remember, I tell you when you have a shampoo, make sure it's sulfate free. Why do I say that? Sulfate. Sulfate is a cleaner. It's like a sodium something scientific thing and that dries the heck out of your hair, strips your hair. So sulfate, maybe every now and then, depending on what you're trying to clean out of your hair, for one wash might be okay. I'm not saying, oh my God, run for the hills. I'm saying don't make it a habit to use it every time you're washing your hair. And you're wondering why your hair is dry and brittle every time you wash your hair, because of the sulfate that's in it is stripping your hair of its natural essence, its natural oils. We don't want to do that. Sulfate free is the way to go. So sulfate is one of the things you want to avoid having in your products when using them on a regular basis. Mineral oil. If you are using products on your hair that has mineral oil in it, again, mineral oil, not the best for your hair. Not the best for your hair. It is, we'll get more into the next one. Like I said, I'm going to go really into details as to why to avoid these things. So mineral oil is not nutrient. It doesn't provide your hair with any kind of nutrients or anything. People tend to use mineral oil, products with mineral oil in it, because they want the hair to be shiny and stuff. Naturally our hair doesn't shine. Just like naturally our teeth are not paper white. It's supposed to have it's like an eggshell, like off white. But people like to walk around with these bright white teeth that glow in the dark. I would never understand that. Just clean your damn teeth. They don't have to be white. They ain't supposed to be yellow, but they ain't supposed to be white either. You know what I mean? So mineral oil. That's number 2. Products with parabens in it. There are a lot of preservatives and dyes and fragrances, artificial fragrances that contain parabens. Parabens are compound agents that can really start playing around with your hormone system. This is why you see a lot of reproductive health failures, not just in women, but also in men. Okay? So parabens plays a major part in health issues. So if you see that it doesn't say parabens free, and I will, like I said, I will discuss alternative like aliases, other names known for what parabens are. If it's in there, put it back on the shelf. It's not for you. Okay? These ingredients, read your labels. Read your labels. I will not say it enough. Read your labels. Do your research. Don't think short term. Think long term. Think of your overall health, not how beautiful your hair looks today. Overall health. This is why we're having this discussion. Number 4, denatured alcohol. We talked about what denatured alcohol does to your hair. It dries it out. It dries it out. Remember I told you, like when you go get your nails done and they use nail polish remover and then it turns white? Or if you use rubbing alcohol and it turns white, get all dry, because it works that fast, it sucks all the moisture on out and evaporates super quick. Don't use denatured alcohol. Denatured alcohol can be found in so many products. I've read labels where it was in mousse. I've read labels where, the oil sheen. Not this one. I'm talking about the aerosol can with the oil sheen in it. Holding spray. All that has denatured alcohol in it. Okay? Leave that stuff alone. Leave it alone. Ain't for you. Ain't for you. Ain't for you. Okay? Synthetic fragrances. I'm sorry. Number 5, synthetic fragrances. There's a difference between organic fragrances when you use extracts from fruits and stuff like that. But synthetic fragrances tend to have compound agents in it, such as parabens and phthalates. Again, messes with your organ, your reproductive system and your organs. Okay, we don't want your hormones going wackadoo because of products that we're using. So if the fragrance is fake, which is what synthetic is, mm-mm, mm-mm, no. That's why you hear me talking about using essential oils and things like that to create fragrances in your hair products, because just be careful, okay? Please. Number six. Coal tar. I know you're like, what? Coal tar. I'll say it again. Yeah. Coal tar is dangerous when it's used in too high volumes. Coal tar is used to treat scalp conditions like psoriasis, right? Severe dandruff, severe seborrheic dermatitis. There's medicated shampoo that has coal tar in it. It's banned in a lot of countries. It ain't banned here, but it's banned in a lot of countries because of how dangerous it is and cause brain cancer and all kinds of stuff. So you gotta be very, very careful, because it's okay to use for treatment, but if it's too high of a dosage, it's going to cause some major problems. We're going to go in depth with that too. But if you ever use a medicated shampoo to treat a scalp condition and you like, why it smell like I just put half the street in my hair? You know, when they fixing the street and they put the asphalt down and then they seal it with the tar and you got that, yeah, coal tar smells just like that. And you was like, I ain't putting that in my head. Yeah, people have sometimes, yeah. I didn't believe it either when I was looking it up, but yeah, yes. Number 7, can't say this enough, silicone. Anything that ends in K, C-O-N-E, cone, is a form of silicone. What did I say is silicone? Silicone creates what? That cellophane, that little saran wrap, that little thin layer that you can't see, but you like, oh, but it's smooth and it's shiny and it's not. That's what silicone is. It gives you. It's the illusion. It's the illusion of the, oh, it's so smooth and shiny and beautiful, but that little cellophane, that saran wrap, that little barrier that's there, and the other moisture that you need to get under there. My hand is the hair. Anything you need to get under there, it's just repelling and bouncing off, and the water's just beating up and rolling off. And now people are like, oh, I have low porosity hair. You see how it's beating up? No, you've been using silicone for years and you think that's what it is, because silicone is hard to clean off your hair. So if silicone is in the ingredients, especially if it's within that first 5, put it back. Put it back. That was that other girl on TikTok. Yeah, no? Okay. I know you're like, what is that word? Number 8. The pH is silent. Phthalates. Again, is a compound agent that's found in preservatives. And if you notice today, there's more people with fertility problems, reproductive issues, ovarian cancer, cervix cancer, prostate cancer. A lot of those things are tied in with phthalates. It's like plastic compounds that's found not only in our hair products, but that stuff is in foods and stuff like that too, because it's in preservatives. So it's in like foods. We're going to talk more about that. But if you see phthalates or any of its aliases listed in the ingredients, put it back. And this is not just for products that you use, but even food that you see on the shelf, like that non-perishable foods that require preservatives in order for it to stay fresh. Read that, because a lot of our health issues because phthalates that are found in the things that we use on a daily basis. And again, it's not just the products, it's everything. Okay? Be careful. Phthalates, number 8. Number 9, formaldehyde. Now here's where we going. Formaldehyde is a gas that it produces a gas, an odorless and invisible gas, and it's activated by water. Now here's what's going to mess you up. Formaldehyde is found in conditioners, it's found in shampoos, it's found in other hair treatments, and then when you go to rinse and wash it out, the invisible odorless gas is not only being breathed in by you, but it's also being breathed in by your stylist, cosmetologist, beautician, whatever you want to call him or her. Oftentimes, and this is very common with stylists, beauticians, cosmetologists, all of that stuff, when they develop respiratory issues, all the way to the point of lung cancer, adult onset asthma, or severe cases of asthma, that it acts very much like fibromyalgia. Not fibromyalgia, cystic fibrosis. You know how when the lungs just keep filling up with thick mucus and they can't breathe. The gas from formaldehyde causes major respiratory issues. There are shampoos. I'm not going to mention them. You have to look it up for yourself because I'm not one of those people that are going to have people hunting me down. But you can look it up. There are lawsuits against certain brands. You can just type it in Google what brands are under review for formaldehyde in their products, and it'll give you a whole list of stuff. I can give you that information. But formaldehyde is highly dangerous, especially for your respiratory system. Oftentimes, people think when people who work in the industry, in the beauty industry, develop respiratory issues, it's only because of like the aerosol sprays. And those actually, as much as they do cause damage, the damage is less severe and takes a much longer time to affect than formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is quick. Like if you use it on a regular basis, if you're a shampoo person and the shampoo you're using has formaldehyde in it, right? And you're washing hair every day for a year, at the end of that year, you definitely will have some permanent respiratory issues. Okay? An honorable mention ingredient to be aware of, and this is found mostly in natural hair dyes, like not natural hair dyes, but like hair dyes of natural colors, like black dyes and dark colors, like that's our hair basic natural colors, is PPD. I'll get more into what that is with the full words. Again, scientific words. If it's not in here in front of me reading it, it goes in, but then what was that word again? But the initials is PPD. It is an agent to give like natural colors like off black and brown a more natural look. So you don't look like you just took a Sharpie marker and colored your hair with it. PPD has 12 allergens in it. So for that, it's really about having skin dermatology allergies, because of it being on your skin. It has the ingredients in PPD has 12 allergens that can cause skin reactions, sometimes severe, like really severe. If you are a person that suffers from major allergies, it can be pretty bad, which is why we have to do skin patch tests when you are looking to do a color job, because a lot of dyes contain PPD. So Yeah. Oftentimes people just try to avoid ammonia and they forget about the PBD, but PBD is also an ingredient that you want to be very careful with. And if it is in there, like I said, you want to do a skin patch test. Usually a skin patch test is conducted about right here. It will take effect pretty quickly if there is an agent in there that causes allergies. And, because it's there and you can see it, we can get it treated, get to a doctor and get it treated immediately. So you don't want to wait until the last minute to be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And you definitely don't want to just color somebody's hair without doing that test first. And then later they find out that they're severely allergic to an ingredient that's in the PPD that was used in the hair dye that they put on their hair. So you got to be very careful. A skin patch test is absolutely 100% necessary before doing the color job. The same way they do a strand test for bleaching, skin patch test is important. Okay? So we have reached the end of this video where we talked about one of the most common scalp infections, folliculitis. And just keep in mind, keep your scalp clean, right? Sanitize your hair tools, absolutely. Even if it's just your hair tools, sanitize them. You can clean them and things like that. If you don't have Bombicide, boil it in some water, but sanitize it. Kill the germs that's on your hair tools that you're using in your hair. Don't just keep reusing them. Okay. And last, learn the home remedies to prevent or treat scalp infections. So here's a tip. Oftentimes people think that they're tender-headed for small reasons. Sometimes your scalp is just inflamed because, again, I talked about how sweat can cause bacteria to get down into your hair follicles and how hard it is to get it out. Sometimes if that bacteria is in there and you just feel this tenderness to your scalp, oftentimes it's because your scalp is inflamed. You didn't know that, right? So tea tree oil shampoos are really good for helping treat that. Yeah. So just like I said, don't be reactive, be proactive, because when you're being reactive, sometimes it doesn't work the first time or the second time or the third time, and you have to just keep, and then spend all this time going back and forth to the dermatologist and all of this, trying to figure out how to treat it. Try to prevent it before it happens. If you go sit down and you see your stylist or your barber just pick up the thing after they just finished working on somebody else and you didn't see them do anything to clean their stuff, be an advocate for yourself. Speak up. Please clean your stuff. Or, because I've seen people do this too, and I don't care how rude your stylist think you might be, but I've seen people bring their own hair tools with them. Not clippers at the barber, but like combs and stuff. Back in the day when I used to go get braids, I used to bring my own comb with me. I don't want that comb. I seen you just, and I look around and like I said, I see that jar sitting there, but it's super dark blue. And I know it's not supposed to be like that because I use Bombicide all the time. The concentrated Bombicide is super dark blue, but it's supposed to be diluted. And a lot of people, they just pour it straight into, no. If you don't know how to use it properly, then say that. Read the label. The directions are right there. But as I said before, be proactive, not reactive. Proactive, not reactive. We're going to talk more about those 9 ingredients plus the bonus 10th PPD next time and next week on Locs Talk, because baby, when you know what you're looking for when you're reading labels, your life will change for the better. And reading labels, again, it's not just about the products that you use on your skin or your face or your hair, but it's also things that you might find in the food that you eat. So read the labels. And more than anything, try to stop getting these preserved foods. Start cooking more whole foods. Okay? Love you lots. So Pammy Locs for love. And thank you for joining me and watching.